I'm Paul.
I'm Devin.
Together, we're Dads and Dice, two new dads who like to play some games during our free time.
That's right, and today we are excited to review MEADOW Downstream. This is the expansion to MEADOW by Rebel Studios, and in this we have been telling our tales and competing at the campfires, observing all the nature that we can. We decided to take up our kayaks and hit the rivers and see who can make the best story. Okay, I'm going to do a quick overview of what is new to MEADOW Downstream. I'm not going to cover any of the basics of MEADOW because at this point, if you're watching this video, I assume you know MEADOW and want to learn about the expansion. So the expansion comes with several new things that you add. You initially had your little campfire board here, and now we have added the stream or the river, right? And so it has this new little board here that you add onto there. It comes with some new cards that you are going to put into the northwest, southeast deck. A couple more cards for in there. It also comes with, most importantly, its own set of river-only cards. And with that, you get a new pointer that is specifically for the river. So where the other ones, I'm going to move 2 spaces and grab this north card. Now, there is a set pointer for just the little river card pyramid. There's also a new type of base starting land where you had your swamp and forest, I think it was. Now you have a river starting as well. And then they have their own little symbols that are only going to be found amongst the river cards. You do now have a kayaker pawn, and really the bulk of the expansion is traveling down the river. So on each of the river cards that you get, there is going to be a 1, 2, 3, or 4 movement symbol, and whichever card you play, that is how many movements you make across the river. And so each time you cross the river, or each time you go down the river and you pass one of these little sign markers, it's then kind of a bonus action that you get to do on your turn. And it could be something like taking any card off either display, or taking a landscape card, or taking the top card off the north deck, or just all kinds of various little bonus actions that kind of make it worth playing those cards as well as moving. Now, the one caveat is all of those cards don't really score points like the base cards do. So you will get your points by actually traveling down the river. And there will be different checkpoints that you hit. And at the end of the game, whatever is the highest space you have made it to, or checkpoint that you made it to, you get to add those points in. They also added a couple more of your kind of set collection little square cubes for both the campfire as well as one of the sides of the board. And I don't think I mentioned, but the board is double-sided. There's kind of I think it's called the Lazy River side as well as the Roaring Rapids side. And so it's 2 totally very different ways of playing. And part of the Roaring Rapids side is there are some tent spots, and then there are some pier spots, and when you hit the spots on the river, you get to take one of those tiles, and they start face up, and you kind of, the first one there takes the one they want, and it will be another action you do, possibly just victory points or so on, but just kind of more to do with it. Other than that, you basically play the same game of MEADOW that you know and hopefully love. So there will be, you're still going to play over 6 rounds, but instead of having 5 markers for each round, you're going to have a 6. So you'll play a little bit longer of a game. And then there are a couple special spots along the turn marker track where once you cross those, they're waterfalls. They completely clear the river cards and reset the deck. It's honestly a really nice way of refreshing the deck, just like kind of how the hourglass worked in the base game. And really, other than that, that's kind of all the new that there is with Downstream.
Yeah, so I think that this expansion definitely added a lot of good stuff to an already great game. One thing that Devin mentioned was the waterfall tokens. I think those are awesome on here because In the base game, there could be a time where the cards would kind of get stale, and it would be really hard to try to build your tableau out because nothing really synergized with what you had. So now the fact that that board is going to clear even more, that really does help with kind of the flow of the game. On top of that, just adding a whole nother place for cards to come up, that's just going to help that whole process in general anyway.
I really also enjoy this expansion. It's like Paul said, it is the same game, but you just kind of get a little bit more. And I really have found that at first I kind of was hesitant to go to the river and deal with the river stuff much, right? Because I wasn't just quite sure I wanted to spin or play cards that I wasn't getting points out of. But I really found that because you get all those bonuses going down the track, right? Taking a north card, just all the various things that you get, that it really did pay off, as well as making it to the end and getting those 20 victory points there at the end of the game. That, I don't know, I just really like what it added to the game.
Yeah, it really balanced out that cards versus movement kind of part of the game. And, you know, like these piers and the tents, and then on the other side, you have other challenges where if you have this symbol and this symbol, those things just really work so well together that, like Devin said, it doesn't feel like you're really missing out that much on points immediately. Now, one thing that I did kind of struggle with at the beginning was there's a lot of new symbols in this board. Fortunately, they are fairly easy to decode if you know the base game well enough. But it did take some time to kind of look at them and say, okay, I know this is the board. I know I'm supposed to pick it up, but I don't know what this symbol does exactly. Or wait, this is a triangle. What kind of oh, there's new cards with triangles kind of thing. So there does seem to be a lot of new information kind of out there. It can be decoded, but it might take a little bit of time for that to happen.
One thing mentioning about the triangles that I really liked, and it's on this rapid side, that if you have a triangle, you get to take some shortcuts, right? And you actually get to go down the track faster. And there's actually some split paths and kind of decision making where, do I take the quicker route where I'm going to ultimately get more points or get to those final points quicker? Or do I take the longer route and I hit a couple more of those signs where I get a couple more bonuses? So there's a lot of decision space that it adds there.
Yeah, and going back to the triangle, so on the rapid side, that gives you the shortcut. But on the other side, that's actually the symbol that you need in order to complete those challenges. So you need to have the triangle with maybe a tree or something like that. So it does give you that same feel of digging through cards until you get the symbol that you want, but it's just a new symbol. We've talked about during our MEADOW review of just how much we like the pointer tokens and that mechanic. So this does give you one more of those pointer tokens. You can, if you're playing in a game where you have the question mark, you can use a question mark on the river board as well. Now, I haven't found it to be that much of an issue, but adding one more turn for 6 rounds can add a bit of time, and I can see that being a complaint for some people. It's already a fairly long game for the weight that it is, and adding another 15-20 minutes might be a little much.
Yeah, so it does add more, and coming with more, it also adds more time. So I think that if you enjoy MEADOW, you're going to enjoy this, regardless of the extra, let's say, 15 minutes it may add with, a 4-player game. You're probably still going to enjoy it because it's just more of the game. And that's kind of where we sit at it, where I don't really mind the extra time. It's also one of those expansions that I would probably say, now that we have, we're probably never going to not play with, right? It's just, you get it out, and it's a part of getting it out is setting up the downstream expansion. Now, part of that could also be that, once you mixed all the cards into the decks, it's going to take just as much time for me to go through the decks and find all the downstream cards and take them out, well, might as well just play the extra 15 minutes at that point and play with the expansion that I think legitimately adds to the fun of the game.
Yeah, and one thing with setup with this game is it assumes that you've added the U envelope into the game already. So if you have not added that one, that is something that you have to do in order to be able to play the downstream expansion. Now it does come with another one with Z, and they tell you to open this one after you've gone to a river or to a lake. So again, it's just a little bit more of that theme that they like to throw in the game. Like Devin mentioned, it is a game that I will always play with the expansion. It does fit into the base box. I absolutely loved the base game. I know Devin really enjoyed the base game. It was all in our top 5s of our BGG Spring video. I will say that if you don't absolutely love Meadow, you might not need the expansion. I don't think it's necessary, but I will never not play without it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of pointing it. Like I mentioned, it just kind of, it adds more Meadow. I don't think, like Paul mentioned, if Meadow just wasn't your game, for whatever reason, you didn't like the theme, you didn't like the mechanics, this isn't the type of expansion that's a fix for it, and I'm going to, no, it's really just,
it's more
of the same, in my opinion, in a good way, right? I think this kayak, or the river, adds more fun, but it's not going to be like, oh, well, you didn't like Meadow, but get downstream, it fixes the game. It's not going to do that for you. You're really going to be playing the same game that you probably didn't enjoy then. But if you're on our end where, yeah, we talked about it in the spring, we completely loved this game. It kind of blew me out of the water. I wasn't expecting to go into a nature-themed game that, in my opinion, is overabundant, right? There are tons of. I wasn't expecting it to draw me, and this one really did. I enjoyed that this game had a pretty fair level of strategy, but it also caters to the people that I just want to pick up cards, play cards, and get points. It really does enough of both worlds there. And again, downstream just, it kind of adds on another layer that you get to do and enjoy.
Yeah, and going to that enjoyment with all the new cards, there's just all new art. And again, I'm going to say it, there's a bunch of cute animals. You get to actually enjoy it. Whenever you're done with the game, you have this tableau of just cards out there, and you get to see, oh, I have my house on this and that, and you get to look at everything that you've created. And I've mentioned it before, that's something that I really enjoy in a game. And with this thematic of a game, they did an awesome job, again, just knocking it out of the park.
That is all we have. That is Meadow Downstream. So again, highly, highly recommend. If you enjoy Meadow, you will enjoy Downstream. There's really nothing about it that maybe you could talk about, Paul mentioning the time, and adds a little bit of time. But honestly, if you're liking Meadow, you're probably not going to be bothered by the extra time with what all it adds. It adds enough fun to justify that extra time. Go check it out for sure. It is really good it's really great to a really great game, right? That's all we have. We really do appreciate it. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. All of those things help us. They really do help our channel grow. We appreciate it. We will see you on the next one.
That's right. In Meadow Downstream. We're not starting with that's right.
That's right.
Yeah. In Meadow Downstream, I'm so bad at this. No, I got it. We got a couple more tries here. All right. Meadow Downstream adds a new board to the base game of Meadow.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You want me to try it?
Yes.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
I'll try it. I think that was good.
I think that was real good. You are way better at the first part than I am.